Thanks for checking out the podcast Highways and Byways. It's a podcast about Texas. I'm your host, Chris Carlisle. The Belton School District is dealing with an issue that happens often during the first week of school. The school bus is being delayed. The district sent an alert to parents on Wednesday that all buses were behind schedule. The Temple School District will still be offering free meals to students this school year. The district qualified for the community eligibility provision, which is offered through the Texas Department of Agriculture to benefit low-income areas. Texas A&M Central Texas got an award for helping educate veterans and students with military connections. San Antonio's Sports Activate program offers free fitness and wellness programs all over the city. All right, next, the old Houston television show, The Eyes of Texas. Now, one show I remember from when I was a kid living in Houston was one called The Eyes of Texas. It was on Saturday nights after Big 2 News at 6 on Channel 2 KPRC TV, and it was hosted by Ray Miller, who was news director for years at Channel 2 and its radio sister KPRC AM 950. I found an episode and watched it on YouTube. It was from February 1980. The first segment featured a bank executive in Austin who bought and fixed up some old homes and turned them into branch offices. Hey, there's no place like home. The bank was the Franklin Savings Association, which I guess wasn't really a bank. The second segment was about a truck driver from Houston who moved his family to East Texas where he built a log cabin. The third segment was about a man in Clyde raising parakeets. And the fourth segment was about a man who had moved from New York to Houston in the 1960s, who was an artist doing paintings about life in the Old West. He also did paintings of Sam Houston and one depicting the Battle of the Alamo. He was also commissioned to paint some portraits documenting the history of Amarillo. And the fifth segment was about a restaurant in Bay Cliff called Clifton by the Sea. And there was a promo for a travel guide that Ray Miller wrote based on the series. After Mr. Miller left as a host, another Channel 2 newsman, Ron Stone, took over as host, and he continued until the show went off the air in the late 1990s. The show was syndicated, and I think I remember watching an episode on Channel 24 from Austin. I also remember in the late 2000s and early 2010s on the PBS station that used to be in Killeen, which is now CW, KNCT, Channel 46, showed reruns of the show. The show came back in 2018 as a podcast on Channel 2's website, click2houston.com, and it can also be heard on most podcast platforms. In fact, the original series was one of the things that inspired me to do this podcast. Next, a Texas roadside attraction. There's a place off of I-10 between Houston and Beaumont called Gator Country. It's off of exit 838. The reality show Texas Gator Savers on Earth TV is kind of about the sanctuary. I've never really seen the show myself. I saw a link to its website on Gator Country's website. Anyway, there are over 450 American alligators, crocodiles, and other reptiles at Gator Country. One of the gators they had there is called a Big Al. Big Al is 13 foot and 14 foot 4 inches long, and he's also 88 years young. They also offer swamp tours around Tyler Bayou, but you have to make a reservation if you want to go on a swamp tour. Now, Gator Country, it's open every day from 10 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock in the evening, but you can't get in after 4:30. Next, the ghost town of Aldridge, Texas. The town of Aldridge was in Jasper County in East Texas, southeast of Lufkin. Its founder, Hal Aldridge, built a sawmill that became the center of the town's economy. Well, the mill burned down several times in the 1910s, and the railroad quit going through the town in 1927 after the local wood sources had been exhausted. On a personal note, my dad was from Lufkin, and his mother's maiden name was Aldridge. But I don't know if we're related to Hal Aldridge. By the way, my grandmother grew up near the Brownwood area. Before I go, here's something from the good book. From the 78th Psalm. Give ear, O my people, to my law, incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable, I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, shewing to the generation to come the praises of the Lord, and his strength and his wonderful works that he hath done. For he established a testimony in Jacob, and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, that they might set their hope in God, and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments. And from the book Savvy Sayings, True Wisdom from the Royal West, collected by Ken Alstead. If your house knew how puny you were, he'd stomp you to death. There ain't a house that can't be rode. There ain't a man that can't be throwed. A man can easy brag himself out in a place to lean on the bar. The cards ain't been shuffled good unless you got a good hand. The bobcat sure was playing good. He's got 2 holes in his hide, right where his eyes go. Never approach a bull from the front, a horse from the rear, or a fool from any direction. Lonesome creates diseases that friendship cures. A sure cure for a toothache is to tickle a mule's heel. Too little temptation can lead to virtue. Treat mule-headed men the same way you'd treat a mule. You're fixing to corral. Don't try to drive them in. Just leave the gate open, a crack, and let them bust in. Okay. Well, I guess I'll let you go now. I know I've taken up enough of your time. I do thank you for checking out my podcast. I know I'm probably not the most articulate person doing a podcast, but hey. Now be sure to hit the download button, leave a like, a follow, and subscribe. My name is Chris Carlisle. Thank you for listening.